So one of the key catalysts that shapes today's financial industry is what is called, open banking, right? Open banking or banking as a service is basically, as we'll discuss in the module there, is an ability for the bank to transform the way they're doing their application management and to modernize their core systems. And the term hollow the core basically refers to taking a traditional core banking stack from a core banking platform standpoint and moving that from a legacy mainframe batch driven stack, which is extremely fragmented in different, sales and service systems, which run different products like payments, general ledger, reconciliation, pricing, and moving that into, a modern cloud-based core banking stack where it's cloud native and more real time. So let's talk about what this core banking involves, because you'll see that a lot of times banks try to re-engineer systems by applying, lipstick on a pig, which means that you're trying to modernize the front end or the APIs. At the same time, you've got a core which is hampering speed and flexibility. And how do you do this untangling of the legacy system without disrupting the regular banking process? That's something a lot of banks deal with. And that's what we want to discuss in the retail segment, but also introduce you the term hollow the core. So again, as discussed, hollowing the core means taking an efficient core banking system and adding more flexibility to make it more capable in terms of working with new projects such as open banking. And this lack of enterprise-wide applicability is house-wide in that when you have a core banking stack, you're exposing the data in the stack to different channels. Not having an agile core banking stack means that the channels don't have the latest and greatest enterprise knowledge, or they're not able to respond quickly to customer requirements. And core banking isn't really a problem just with the overall way that technology is implemented, but also it drives a lot of the IT budgets. And this probably makes a lot more sense to executives because everything's tied to dollars and euros and cents and yen and rupees and renminbi or yuan, whatever have you, right? Depending on your where you operate in the world. But 30% of core banking budget is spent on maintenance. And the idea, if moving to a cloud native, cloud provider based approach driven by microservices and things like Kubernetes, AI/ML, is you're basically going to componentize all of the different functions so that they can be updated individually and they can have different teams that focus on just that one capability. So an update of one product doesn't have to mean an update of the entire core banking stack. And goes without saying that the older legacy architecture makes it hard to implement cloud native capabilities in terms of scale up and scale out, as an example. So what does hollowing the core provide, right? If done well, number one, it can provide you with accelerated business capability where you can rapidly deploy modules based on what your customers need. So for instance, if you want to deploy a new mobile front end, you can do that in a matter of hours as opposed to months it takes now, without disrupting the other aspects or the other products that are hosted by the core banking platform. Number two, enterprise applicability. So you can make a change that has an impact on a bank-wide user experience and then scale that up as more number of users want to use it. Number three, it's a modern architecture. The two prongs in terms of IT budget, CapEx and OpEx, you'll hear a lot about this. CapEx is one-time expenses and capital expenditure. OpEx is ongoing recurring investments. More and more banks want to move from a CapEx-oriented approach, a big bang approach, to OpEx. So you're able to swallow innovation in bite-sized chunks as opposed to doing big bang projects, which for the most time fail because of the complexity of what is involved in building what you want to involve. By the time you build it, working with the likes of a big five firm or working with the likes of global SI, you see that your customers have moved ahead, or the technology has moved ahead as it moves in every 6 months, and that your whole re-architecture needs to be again re-architected, right? So the idea with hollowing the core is to build everything in bite-sized increments and as much as possible move into a cloud provider-based approach to basically drive more OpEx as opposed to CapEx.